All right, it's time to check the air pressure, the tires on the RV. This is a Sprinter-based RV. It's got dual wheels on the rear. In our case, we only have the trim rings, so I actually had to pull the trim rings off and go after the dualies that way. So I'll just take you through the process of how I do it, and we'll go step by step. Let's talk about the tools of the trade and preparation. First of all, you're going to get dirty. You're going to get filthy. Wear clothes you don't mind rolling around the ground on. And, your hands are going to get filthy. Just is what it is. So, tools of the trade. To get the wheel cover off, I use something like this. Thing there, and pry it off. I'll show you that. To put the wheel cover back on, I have a rubber mallet. This is helpful. You might be able to use the heel of your shoe. You got to be able to check the tire pressure on a dually. This is a dually head tire pressure gauge, and I know it's reasonably calibrated. I actually use zip strips. This is when I put the wheel cover back on. I use 2 zip strips on each of the rear wheel covers to prevent them from popping off. And I remove the old ones with just some kind of a wire cutter. And when I'm installing them, I like to have these, and I'll show you how I reach through and grab them through. What else do we need? We need compressed air, and we need, on our compressed air, we need a dually air, what do you call that thing? Air coupler. I don't know what these are. Tire inflator, but it has to be a dually, right? Both sides you can use, and I'll explain that more as we get into it. So here we go. All right, step 1 for me is to remove the zip strips that I put in the last time. It might be a little hard to see this, but a zip strip connects this trim ring to the steel wheel behind it. I don't know, it's hard to get light in here, but that zip strip goes through there. So I'm just gonna snip both those off. I have one up here and one down here, so let's start with that. Zip strips are off. You can take off this wheel trim ring. So I just get behind a little bit. It'll be on the wheel, but there we go. Pry it off. There we go. Okay, we're just one step closer. All right, I'm looking in now. We're looking for I'm gonna find 2 different inflators. Both of them are going to be behind this wheel, okay? So even though there's another tire behind here and there's another wheel, we can access them both from, in here. Here's the easy one. So this is actually the rear tire, okay? Interesting, this doesn't have a cap on it. I suspect I haven't been in here since I had the new tires put on. My guess is they didn't put a cap on this valve stem, so we're going to fix that. Yeah, so I will start with this one. I will check the tire pressure there, and then I will inflate accordingly. This is pretty straightforward. If there is a cap on there, which there should be, this little hose is handy because you can just put this right over the cap, unscrew it, and pull it out. Okay, and it'll still be inside the hose. So that's a nice little helper. But I'm going to go ahead, check the pressure on this, and then we'll add some air to it. I don't know where I'm putting this camera so you guys can actually see this. It might be a little difficult. All right, I'm going to try to film this as best I can. But I checked the pressure here. I've got about 50 PSI, which is pretty much what they've all been reading so far. But, it's pretty straightforward. Get a gauge on there. And go. Yeah, I'm right about 50. All right, let's put some air in it. So I actually have a gauge that's on here. So I'm filling, when I release, I can get a pressure showing about 50, although I think this thing seems to read a little low.
the air compressor is probably going to kick on here any minute, and then you won't be able to hear anything. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, I found a spare cap. Got it inflated. I'm just going to show you. I'll show you how this works. I'm just going to put the cap in here, like that. Then I can just screw on the cap, and it's on there. I think it's tight. Yep. Okay, so that's one wheel. Now the other wheel is a little tougher, and basically what I do is I just start, sticking my finger up here, and I'm feeling around for where is that thing. There it is, right here. All right. Okay, so I found the other one. It's actually back here. The tip of my finger, touch. It's on the cap, all right? On the end of the cap, right there. I know you can't see it because it's just really dark, but it's there. Now the trick for me is getting that cap off of there with limited ability to get too many fingers in there. So I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but I'll see if I can get a camera set up. All right. Challenge with this is to try to film what I'm doing without getting my head in the way, getting some light on the subject. So hopefully you can see that stem down there now. And what I try to do is, it's a two-hand operation. So I try to get one finger around here on the back of the cap. I can also, so I got one finger going around from this hole, another finger from this hole, then I can spin the cap. But once I get the cap off, I want to be able to bring it out through the hole that's right there. So my thumb is prepared to jump in there and kind of grab it. Okay, I got it. There's the cap. Okay, that's the tricky part in my opinion. Getting that cap off of there. So let's check it. So now to check the pressure on this one, we're going to use this side. And then we go through, bring this back. I also like to get a finger behind it, put pressure on it. Like that. So that wasn't a good reading, but you get the idea. So now I'm going to get the air compressor on there. So, all right, so now we're going to do this. Goes on the same way. There we go. I got an air pressure here now. All right, so now we're going to fill. I'm going to try and get up around that 60-pound reading. Of course, the air compressor will kick on again eventually. Ready, set, check. About 4 more. So my RV calls for 61 PSI on each tire. So it's cold now. So my readings will be, a little lower, but it's okay. Get around 60, I'll be happy. Of course, when I get to a warm location, tire pressure is going to read higher. All right, that's good enough. All right, so now we're off. We are inflated. I had to repeat the process, get this cap back on. So, got a finger back there, feed the cap back. Now we can spin it on. Righty tighty. Clockwise on the stem. All right, it's tight. We're on. Tire pressure has been adjusted. Now all we have to do is get the trim ring back on and put the zip ties on. I'll try and show you that too. What I should explain is, while I have this off, these zip strips, basically come through one of these holes, go through the matching hole behind it, then come back out this way through the next hole, and then I tie them together. So you want to use a zip strip that's at least, 6 inches long. I wouldn't use anything shorter. You can use longer ones. Just clip off the excess. But first thing we got to do is put the trim ring back on. So I kind of just get it started. Depending on how new your trim rings are, the harder they go on. Might have been on and off a few times, so they're getting a little easier. But this one is, I'm seated over here, so I'm going to give this a whack. Okay, that started. An alternate way, if you're dexterous enough, is to, use your heel. Done that before. But they're on. Problem is, if you go over some kind of serious pothole, bridge abutment, whatever, these steel wheels flex. And when they flex, this trim ring can pop off. I know that. I've lost 2 of them. So, I find this to be an important step, putting these zip strips on here. And what I do to get started is I put some bends in here. I just kind of kink it, like that. And then I have my needle nose plier ready, and I try to fish it back here. Make sure I'm going through the steel wheel. Then kind of look back in here. Honestly, I can't see back there, so I'm just kind of doing a fishing expedition at the moment. There it is, I see it now. But once it's there, I can... Yeah, I got it. Right. When you're through, one. Pop off the excess. And just repeat the process with the other one. Once you get the hang of it, got a little bit of patience, this is a job that you can do yourself. You might say, why haven't I done something? Look at that. No, I missed the steel wheel there. Too excited. Why haven't I come up with maybe why haven't I done a TPMS system? Would be one possible thing that you're thinking. It's a good question. Fair question. I think it's it's a reasonable thing. I mean, a TPMS system certainly could tell me what the tire pressures are once I've been driving for a little while, but it doesn't inflate the tires. I'd have to do the same thing if I wanted to add air to the tires. I have to go through the same process. All right, there we go, that's on. you go. All right, we got it. That's it. That's the process. I'll be honest, I don't like doing it, you know, but there's things in life that you got to do. And I think this is one of those. I check the tire pressure on my cars, take care of it. It just happens to be easier on a car. So there you go. Hope you found that helpful. If you like what I'm doing here, if you think it's worth me taking the time to record these things, please give me a like. A subscribe would be wonderful. Doesn't cost you anything. Take care now.